The story starts with a disturbing incident inside a church, where several priests are suddenly consumed by blue flames. Rather than panicking, the head priest orders everyone to continue praying. According to him, an incredibly powerful demon is attempting to possess them, and stopping their prayers would only make the situation worse. Elsewhere, Rin has just finished dealing with a group of boys after another fight. As he walks away, he finds himself questioning where his life is actually heading. Later that day, he returns to the church and is greeted by Shiru, the man who has acted as both his guardian and teacher for most of his life. Shiru already knows about the fight and wastes no time confronting. He also reveals that Rin's employer recently contacted him because Rin has once again been neglecting his job. Having raised him since childhood, Shiro worries constantly about the choices Rin continues to make. Wanting him to become more responsible, Shiro warns that if he keeps drifting through life without a goal, he may eventually have to join the True Cross Order as a priest and take over the church. The idea does not sit well with Rin at all. Before the discussion can go any further, Yukio arrives. Unlike his older brother, Yukio has earned a reputation for being disciplined and dependable. The people around them quickly point out the contrast between the two siblings and proudly mention that Yukio will soon be attending the prestigious True Cross Academy. Not long afterward, Shiro is called away and leaves Rin in Yukio's care. While tending to his brother's injuries, Yukio reveals that the time has finally come for him to move on. After spending 15 years there, he is preparing to leave and pursue the future he has always envisioned for himself. Hearing this makes Rin realize that moments like these will soon become a thing of the past. Even though Yukio is younger, he has always been the more mature of the two. As expected, Yukio reminds Rin that constantly getting into fights and repeatedly losing jobs is not a sustainable way to live. Rin defends himself by explaining that the latest fight happened because a group of boys had been tormenting birds and intentionally provoking him. A little later, some of his friends show up with an unexpected opportunity. They have managed to arrange a job interview for him and even brought a suit so he can look presentable. With no time to waste, Rin changes clothes and heads straight for the interview. On his way there, he notices Shiro speaking with a woman and her daughter outside the church. The priest comforts them and reassures them that the church will always be there if they ever need help. After they leave, Rin approaches Shiro and comments on how demanding the work of an exorcist must be. Shiro agrees and explains that their duty is to deal with demons that attempt to invade and corrupt human souls. The conversation then shifts when Shiro notices Rin's formal clothes. Upon learning about the interview, he helps straighten Rin's tie. Although he chuckles when Rin insists that he is already grown up, the teasing only fuels Rin's determination. Before leaving, he confidently promises that he will secure the job. When he finally arrives at the workplace, the interviewer is surprised to discover that he is only 15 years old. Still, after hearing how eager he is to work, she decides to test him with a simple task involving several boxes. Unfortunately, things go wrong almost immediately. While carrying out the assignment, Rin accidentally drops a box directly onto the woman conducting the interview. The rest of the day follows a similar pattern. Every task he attempts somehow ends in failure, leaving him increasingly frustrated. By the time the workday is nearing its end, Rin cannot help feeling that he lacks any real talent. During a break, one of the employees offers him a bowl of noodles. The taste is far from impressive, and she explains that the owner insists on buying the cheapest ingredients available. Since cooking is one of the few things Rin is actually good at, he asks if he can make a few adjustments. Not long after, the smell of his cooking begins drawing attention from everyone nearby. By the time the owner arrives, several workers are already waiting to try the food. One taste is all it takes to impress her, and she immediately decides to hire him. Excited by this rare success, Rin contacts his family after work and proudly tells them that he finally got a job. They happily tell him to return home because they are planning to prepare a special meal to celebrate. However, before he can make it back, he encounters the young girl who had visited the church earlier. While helping her retrieve a runaway scarf, something bizarre happens. The scarf suddenly transforms into a strange creature and takes off. Without hesitation, Rin chases after it. During the pursuit, the creature causes several stacks of boxes to collapse. Despite the danger, Rin manages to shield the girl and keep her from being injured. Meanwhile, his family begins wondering why he has not returned home. Eventually, Yukio tracks him down sitting alone in a park. There, Rin reveals that he has already lost the job he had just earned. Since nobody believed his explanation about the mysterious creature, all the damage was blamed on him. When they finally arrive home, they discover the girl and her father waiting for them. The man has come to personally thank Rin for protecting his daughter. As the conversation continues, Rin mentions that the girl has been troubled by something unusual. Her father immediately dismisses the idea and insists that she should focus on school, The girl then reveals that she keeps seeing fairies, but her father refuses to believe her claims. Rin confirms that she is telling the truth, only for Shiro to quickly silence him before he says too much. Instead, Shiro gives the girl a special protective charm and assures her that it will keep her safe. He then advises her father to place more trust in his daughter. After all, she has very few friends and relies heavily on her parents for support. Once the visitors leave, Shiro's attention returns to Rin. It turns out the store owner personally delivered the bill for all the property damage caused earlier, giving Shiro another reason to scold him. Later that night, Shiro heads into a hidden section beneath the church. There, he unlocks a chest containing a mysterious sword. The moment he sees it, he realizes that a major crisis is approaching. The following morning brings another surprise for Yukio has already departed for the academy. Rather than saying goodbye face to face, he chose to leave behind only a farewell letter. The next day, Rin's attention is drawn outside when he notices something unusual filling the sky. Countless strange creatures are flying above the city, yet everyone around him continues their daily lives as if nothing is there. It quickly becomes clear that ordinary people are completely incapable of seeing them. Before he has much time to think about it, Reggie and several of his friends approach him. Rin immediately recognizes them as the same group responsible for tormenting and killing pigeons earlier. They lead him away from the crowded streets, and once they reach a secluded alley, Reggie attempts to buy his silence by offering him money in exchange for forgetting what happened. The offer means nothing to Rin. He bluntly tells them that he never intended to report them in the first place. Everything remains calm until Reiji starts insulting Yukio. The moment his brother becomes the target of the mockery, Rin loses control and punches him without hesitation. Instead of backing down, Reggie's anger spirals out of control. To Rin's shock, the boy begins transforming into a monstrous creature. Unable to understand what is happening, Rin wonders why nobody else seems capable of seeing the transformation. As the creature prepares to brand him with a glowing piece of heated metal, something inside Rin finally snaps. In an instant, blue flames explode from his body. The sudden display terrifies Reggie's companions and sends them running for their lives. Reggie, however, reacts differently. He immediately recognizes the flames and reveals that they are proof that Satan has chosen Rin as a vessel. Before the situation can worsen, Shiru arrives at the scene. The moment Reggie notices that an exorcist has appeared, he launches an attack. Unfortunately for him, Shiru effortlessly evades the assault and quickly performs an exorcism that frees Reggie from possession. With the immediate danger dealt with, Shiro finally decides to reveal the truth. He explains that humanity resides in a realm called Asaya, while demons belong to Gehenna. Although the two dimensions were originally separate, circumstances have allowed the demon world to establish a connection with the human one. Shiro then reveals the reason behind Rin's blue flames. The powers sleeping inside him have finally awakened. More importantly, he explains that Rin was born from both a human and a demon. Because of his heritage, demons will now begin searching for him, forcing him to go into hiding. The shocking revelations do not end there. Shiro finally tells him the secret that has been hidden his entire life. Rin is the son of Satan. The revelation immediately brings back painful memories from his childhood. Throughout his life, people often treated him differently and repeatedly referred to him as a demon because of his unusual behavior. There is little time to dwell on the past, however. As demons begin closing in, Shiro and Rin race through the city. During their escape, they encounter several dogs that have already been possessed. Shiro deals with them by throwing a holy water-like explosive before continuing onward. While they run, Shiro reminds Rin that he can no longer rely on others to protect him forever. Elsewhere, Reggie's former companions discuss the bizarre incident they witnessed. They are particularly disturbed by the blue flames that surrounded Rin. Not long afterward, the demon returns and possesses Reggie once again. Completely overtaken, he announces that his next target will be Rin. Meanwhile, the church prepares for an incoming assault. Protective seals are placed around the building while exorcists reinforce the defenses. Demons repeatedly attempt to force their way inside, but the barrier surrounding the church successfully keeps them out. Knowing that time is running short, Shiro leads Rin to the sword hidden beneath the church. He explains that the weapon is called Kurakara, a legendary blade forged for the purpose of destroying demons. Entrusting the sword to Rin, Shiro orders him to keep it with him at all times. However, he also issues a strict warning. Under no circumstances should the sword ever be drawn. If the seal is broken, Rin's demonic power will fully awaken and his humanity will disappear. Confused by everything he has learned, Rin asks whether Yukio shares the same demonic blood. Shiro explains that although they are twins, Yukio inherited none of Satan's power because his body was too fragile to receive it. Their conversation is suddenly interrupted when a stolen truck crashes directly into the church. Realizing the attack has begun, Shiro hands Rin a special phone and explains that it can be used to contact someone capable of helping him. Moments later, he locks Rin inside a room and orders him to escape through a hidden route beneath the church. While Rin retreats, the exorcists stay behind to confront the invading demon. Among them, one exorcist summons a powerful guardian spirit that tears through the enemy ranks. As he makes his way through the escape route, Rin reflects on the years he spent with Shiro and Yukio. The truth still feels impossible to accept. Everything he thought he knew about himself has changed after learning that he is Satan's son. Back on the battlefield, the demon controlling Reggie reveals its true strength. Several priests are seriously injured as the creature sheds its disguise and transforms into a far more dangerous form. It is no ordinary demon, but a high-ranking one. Just when the situation begins slipping out of control, Rin intervenes from a distance by throwing a weapon toward the fight. The distraction gives Shiro the opening he needs to close the gap. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Shiro begins performing a specialized exorcism intended for powerful demons. After reciting a series of sacred incantations, he succeeds in forcing the demon out and restoring Reggie to normal. With the immediate threat neutralized, Shiro instructs the others to purify Reggie and move him somewhere safe. At the same time, he stresses that Rin must be hidden immediately because countless demons will soon start searching for him. The reason is simple. Rin is not merely Satan's son, he is the demon prince. Overhearing this conversation pushes Rin over the edge. Furious and hurt, he confronts Shiro and accuses him of hiding the truth all these years. In his anger, he begins to question whether the man who raised him ever genuinely cared about him at all, believing that every act of love and kindness may have been nothing more than a lie. Rin's accusations finally push Shiro past his limit. Losing patience, he strikes Rin across the face and orders him to pack his things and leave immediately. Before Rin can even react, a terrifying change sweeps across the area. Darkness suddenly engulfs the surroundings, and Shiro begins struggling against an unseen force. Moments later, blue flames erupt from his body as Satan takes possession of it. The situation spirals out of control almost instantly. Several exorcists are consumed by the same blue fire, while Satan uses Shiro's body to unleash even greater chaos. After spilling blood onto the ground, he opens a massive portal leading directly to Gehenna, the realm better known as Hell. With the gate open, Satan focuses his attention on Rin. Determined to awaken the power sleeping within his son, he grabs him and hurls him toward the portal. Just when everything seems lost, Shiro manages to briefly regain control over his body. Using the opportunity, he injects himself with a special substance concealed inside the necklace he always carried. The effect is immediate. The demonic gateway begins destabilizing and slowly collapsing. Realizing what Shiro has done, Satan is stunned that he would willingly sacrifice himself to protect Rin. As the portal starts dragging everything around it inward, Rin reaches a desperate conclusion. There is only one thing left he can do. He draws Kurakara. The instant the blade leaves its sheath, the seal binding his power shatters. Demonic energy erupts from him, and with a single strike he cleaves through the gate itself, causing the entrance to Gehenna to vanish. Victory, however, brings no relief. The moment Rin sees Shiro lying motionless on the ground, his emotions overwhelm him. Tears begin pouring down his face just as Yukio arrives at the scene. The following day confirms everyone's worst fears. Shiro is laid to rest. Having lost the man who raised him, Rin is left with only one lead, the phone Shiro entrusted to him. Hoping for answers, he calls the number stored inside. To his surprise, a phone nearby immediately starts ringing. The owner introduces himself as Mephisto, an exorcist affiliated with the True Cross Order Academy. Their first meeting is far from comforting. Mephisto bluntly explains that Rin's future contains only two possible outcomes, and both involve his death. Naturally, Rin is furious. He thought Shiro's contact would be someone willing to protect him. Instead, Mephisto openly states that allowing Satan's son to continue living presents a danger to everyone. Rather than begging for mercy, Rin presents a different idea. He declares that he wants to follow Shiro's path and become an exorcist. More importantly, he reveals that he despises Satan and intends to kill him one day. Instead of viewing him solely as a threat, Rin proposes that the Order accept him as one of their own. To his surprise, Mephisto agrees. However, he makes one thing very clear: the road ahead will be brutal. In fact, he warns Rin that there may come a day when death would have been the easier choice. Despite the grim warning, Rin refuses to back down and accepts the offer without hesitation. Several hours later, he sits alone inside the church, reflecting on all the memories he shared with Shiro. The more he thinks about it, the more he realizes how much the priest truly cared for him. After leaving the church, Rin asks about Yukio's whereabouts. At that same moment, Yukio can be found standing before Shiro's grave, remembering the man who had served as a father to both of them. The next morning, Rin waits outside when Mephisto suddenly appears and tells him it is time to leave. Curious about their destination, Rin asks where they are headed. Mephisto reveals that they are traveling to the True Cross Academy. The surprises do not end there. During the trip, Mephisto casually reveals that he is actually the principal of the academy and announces that Rin will be enrolling there as a full-time student. The news excites Yukio because it means he and his brother will once again be attending the same school. When they finally arrive, Rin is amazed by the enormous city surrounding the academy. Everything about the place feels far grander than anything he expected. Later, students gather inside the academy amphitheater for an official ceremony. During the event, Yukio is selected as the student representative after achieving the highest academic score in the entire institution. His accomplishments quickly make him popular, especially among the female students. Watching from a distance, Rin cannot help feeling proud. Ever since they were children, he has supported Yukio's dream of becoming a doctor. At the same time, he believes that the problems connected to Satan are his burden alone and not something Yukio should be dragged into. Afterward, Rin spends some time exploring the academy grounds by himself. The elegant buildings and impressive atmosphere leave a strong impression on him. While wandering around, he starts thinking about his future. Although he plans to finish high school, his real objective is now becoming an exorcist. His thoughts are interrupted when he spots a cute puppy nearby. Curious, he follows it through the campus until it leads him to a quiet area. The puppy suddenly transforms. To Rin's disbelief, it turns out to be Mephisto. After revealing himself, Mephisto hands Rin a key and explains that he cannot simply roam wherever he wants. The key is extremely important because it grants access to Cram School, the secret training facility where future exorcists are educated. From that point onward, Rin will attend normal classes during the day, before continuing his specialized exorcist training afterward. Once the explanation is finished, Mephisto casually jumps from a nearby bridge and instructs Rin to open one of the doors below. When Rin follows the instruction, he discovers an enormous chamber containing countless doors stretching in every direction. As they approach the correct entrance, Mephisto transforms into a dog once again. According to him, entering as the academy principal would attract unnecessary attention. Before going inside, he gives Rin another warning. Under no circumstances can anyone learn that he is Satan's son. If that secret becomes public, most people would try to kill him immediately. After entering the classroom, Rin introduces himself to his fellow students. It does not take long for him to conclude that many of them seem unusual. Mephisto explains that most of the students are connected by one specific condition. Many of them have experienced something known as a spiritual wound. Seeing Rin's confusion, he elaborates further. A spiritual wound is an injury or affliction caused by contact with demons. As a result, people who receive one gain the ability to perceive supernatural beings. The others required such an experience to see demons. Rin did not. Unlike them, he was born with demonic blood. Just then, the instructor finally enters the classroom. The sight leaves Rin speechless. The teacher standing before the class is none other than Yukio. While the other students appear perfectly comfortable with him, Rin immediately complains that someone his age should not be teaching anyone. Yukio calmly responds by revealing a surprising detail. He has been training as an exorcist since the age of 7 and eventually became the youngest person in history to achieve his rank within the organization. With introductions out of the way, Yukio announces that it is time to begin the spiritual wound ritual for students who have not yet undergone it. As preparations begin, Rin's frustration toward his brother resurfaces. After everything that has happened, he cannot stop thinking about one fact. Yukio knew the truth about him all along. Unable to let the issue go, Rin keeps pressing Yukio for answers until the instructor finally asks the rest of the class to step outside and give the brothers some privacy. Yukio knew the truth so powerful that every professional team feared him the moment his name was mentioned. He spent years standing above everyone else without fail, and ruling the truth of his game was mentioned. Nowadays, he couldn't be a separating fissure. Once they are alone, Yukio decides there is no point hiding anything anymore. He finally reveals everything he knows, leaving Rin frustrated after realizing that practically everyone around him had been aware of the truth except him. The revelations do not stop there. Yukio also admits that when Rin was only 2 years old, he was the one who inflicted the spiritual wound that allowed him to perceive demons. The conversation quickly turns into an argument. In the middle of their confrontation, Rin accidentally knocks over a potion, releasing a scent that immediately attracts numerous demonic goblins. Without hesitation, Yukio draws his weapon and begins cutting through the creature. As the battle unfolds, Rin asks a question he has wanted answered for a long time. He wants to know what Yukio genuinely thinks of. Yukio's answer is brutally honest. Despite being brothers, he admits that Rin's demonic nature has always made him view him as a threat. In fact, there were times when he believed Rin should be eliminated. He explains that Shiro dedicated years of his life to protecting him, and even now, he cannot understand why someone born from Satan would choose the path of an exorcist. Yukio then reveals another shocking truth. Shiro was considered the strongest exorcist in existence. Satan had repeatedly failed to possess him because Shiro's greatest vulnerability was Rin. During their final confrontation, Rin unknowingly struck that weakness. By telling Shiro to stop acting like his father, he caused Shiro to lower his guard for a brief moment. That single moment was all Satan. Refusing to accept the blame, Rin argues that Shiro made his own decision and sacrificed himself willingly. No matter what happened, he refuses to believe that Shiro's death rests on his shoulders. Even after hearing that, Yukio continues pointing his weapon directly at him. Seeing that words are getting nowhere, Rin slowly draws Kurakara and tells Yukio that if he truly believes he is a monster, then he should go ahead and fire. Instead, Rin suddenly rushes forward. For a split second, it appears as though he is attacking Yukio, but the truth becomes clear immediately. A gigantic demon had appeared behind him. With a single strike, Rin slices the creature apart before calmly declaring that he would never raise his blade against his own brother. The statement catches Yukio completely off guard. For the first time, he begins questioning his assumptions and asks Rin what really happened on the day Shiro died. Rin responds honestly. He explains that Shiro gave his life to protect him and reveals the true reason he wants to become an exorcist. He never wants another person to die because of him again. Hearing those words reminds Yukio of everything Shiro stood for. He recalls how the priest devoted his life to helping others and realizes that Rin's motivation is not so different from his own. After all, Yukio also became an exorcist because he wanted to protect people. At long last, the tension between the brothers fades. The two finally reconcile. Although he accepts Rin's feelings, Yukio still warns him to stay cautious. Exorcists spend their lives hunting demons, and sooner or later someone may decide to come after him. Once the situation settles down, the rest of the class returns. The moment they step inside, everyone freezes. The room has been completely wrecked. Sometime later, Rin returns to his dormitory and receives another surprise. From now on, Yukio will be sharing the same room with him. Because the Academy is fully aware of Rin's demonic heritage, the administration has decided that he must remain under constant supervision. As a result, Yukio has officially been assigned as his guardian. To Rin, the arrangement actually sounds reasonable. The next morning, he spends his time reading manga until Yukio catches him and immediately starts lecturing him. Apparently, Rin was supposed to be studying. Instead of finding exciting material, Rin discovers that every book Yukio left for him is packed with academic lessons and exorcist theory. Unsurprisingly, he has no interest in any of it. He complains that studying all day is pointless because he has never been good at schoolwork. Yukio quickly shuts that argument down by reminding him that knowledge is a fundamental requirement for becoming an exorcist. Not long afterward, Yukio receives a request to perform an exorcism and begins preparing to leave. The word exorcism instantly grabs Rin's attention. Believing field experience is far more useful than reading textbooks, he begs Yukio to take him along. After considering the request, Yukio eventually agrees. Since Rin has already been exposed to the supernatural world, he decides it would not hurt to let him observe. However, he establishes one strict condition. Rin is only there to watch, no interfering. While traveling, Yukio explains one of the Academy's most important systems. Exorcists carry special keys capable of opening doors connected to various locations throughout the institution. Because of this, Rin must learn how the doors work and never lose the keys, otherwise he could accidentally become trapped somewhere dangerous. Eventually, they arrive at their destination. Before beginning the mission, Yukio leaves to gather supplies and tells Rin to wait where he is. Naturally, Rin becomes annoyed. To him, Yukio is still treating him like a child. As he wanders around the area, his attention is drawn to a nearby door. Curious, he investigates and discovers a beautiful garden hidden beyond it. Inside the garden stands a girl about his age. The moment Rin reaches for the entrance, the door suddenly shatters. The girl's reaction is immediate. Fear spreads across her face because the entrance had been protected by an anti-demon barrier. The fact that it broke apart instantly confirms that Rin is a demon. Growing irritated, Rin approaches her and questions why she keeps calling him. The frightened girl immediately backs away and tries to escape. Before she can get far, however, Rin notices something unusual. It appears she is suffering from a strange condition affecting her skin. Concerned, he asks if she is all right. Meanwhile, Yukio visits a nearby shop to purchase the items needed for the exorcism. During his visit, he asks the owner about her daughter. The woman admits that her daughter's condition has been getting worse. Despite consulting countless doctors, nobody has been able to identify the cause. Hearing this, Yukio asks whether she has ever considered the possibility that the problem may be connected to demons. The woman is unsure. Instead, she suggests that the issue might somehow be related to the girl's late grandmother. Back in the garden, the atmosphere gradually becomes less tense. As she spreads fertilizer among the flowers, the girl finally introduces herself as Shiemi. Feeling guilty for her earlier reaction, she apologizes to Rin and begins telling him about the garden. According to Shiemi, the place originally belonged to her grandmother. After her grandmother passed away during the previous winter following an accident, the responsibility of caring for the garden fell entirely to her. Since then, she has devoted herself to preserving the place and looking after the flowers her grandmother once loved. Shiemi also tells Rin that her grandmother once spoke to her about the famous Amaimon garden. According to her grandmother, it is a place where all the flowers in the world can be found, and Shiemi dreams of visiting it someday. At that moment, Yukio arrives and scolds Rin for not following his instruction. He then asks Shiemi to show him her feet because he wants to determine whether her condition is related to demons. After examining her, Yukio notices root-like growths on her feet and concludes that the problem is connected to a lower-ranking demon. He explains that the demon must be hiding somewhere within the garden. This immediately upsets Shiemi's mother, who declares that her daughter's dream of maintaining the garden is over. Shiemi argues with her mother and eventually collapses. Later, Shiemi is taken to her room. After leaving, her mother explains to Rin and Yukio that Shiemi moved into the house where her grandmother used to live because it is located right beside the garden. She also reveals that Shiemi had a much better relationship with her grandmother than with her. This happened because she spent more time working at the shop than taking care of her daughter. Deep down, she even felt jealous because her mother had a closer bond with Shiemi than she did. Meanwhile, Shiemi dreams about her grandmother, who once told her that she would one day search for the Amaimon garden. After her grandmother's death, Shiemi watched the garden slowly begin to wither away. At that time, she spoke to one of the flowers and promised that she would take care of the garden. The scene then returns to the present as Shiemi wakes up in her bed. Even though it is nighttime, she goes outside to water the plants. At that moment, Rin arrives and begins destroying the plants because he does not want her to keep worrying her mother. Shiemi then reveals that she feels responsible for her grandmother's death. She explains that she was not there on the day it happened, and later discovered that her grandmother had been crushed by part of the garden structure. Rin realizes that Shiemi is carrying a heavy burden. After offering her several words of encouragement, Yukio arrives. Yukio reveals that he still cannot locate the demon. Just then, when Shiemi begins talking about what she desires most, a voice suddenly responds to her. Shiemi immediately starts transforming as the demon takes control of her body. Realizing the danger, they understand that they must act quickly to save her. Rin immediately draws his sword and rushes forward to cut down the demon. However, the demon uses Shiemi as a human shield. Unable to attack without hurting her, Rin hesitates. At that moment, Yukio tells him to step back. Yukio pulls out his gun and without hesitation shoots Shiemi. The attack forces the demon to release her. The instant the demon lets go, Rin slices it in half, completely destroying it. As a result, Shiemi regains the ability to walk. Rin then gives her a light knock on the head and tells her to apologize to her mother, who arrives at that very moment. Shiemi accepts his advice and apologizes for distancing herself from her mother. This leads to a heartfelt reunion between mother and daughter. Several days later, Shiemi appears in Rin's class because she has decided to become an exorcist herself. It is also quite obvious that she has developed feelings for Rin. The following day, Rin is awakened by his teacher after dreaming that he was the hero of the academy. During class, he notices one of his classmates named Ryuji and realizes that the boy has been glaring at him since the first day. Because Ryuji looks like a delinquent, Rin thinks that his old self would have started a fight immediately. However, he reminds himself that he now wants to become a mature exorcist. For the rest of the day, Rin spends most of his classes sleeping until it is finally time for Yukio's lesson. During class, Yukio returns the results of an exam. Rin scores only a 2, while Ryuji scores a 98. This immediately leads to an argument. Ryuji tells Rin that he considers him a first-class slacker because while everyone else works hard, Rin spends his time sleeping in class. Soon, the final bell rings and the students head outside to talk. Yukio later tells Rin that he should learn from Ryuji's attitude. Although Ryuji looks like a delinquent, he is actually a genius. Yukio also explains that Ryuji comes from a family that manages a temple in Kyoto. Before leaving, Yukio advises Rin to follow his example. Later, Rin and Shiemi begin talking together. As Shiemi moves closer to him, Rin becomes extremely nervous. Just when she is about to tell him something important, Ryuji and his group arrive. Ryuji teases them by suggesting that they look like a couple. Rin immediately denies it. However, when Ryuji jokingly asks whether Rin likes boys instead, Rin responds with a hilarious comeback. He tells Ryuji that if anyone looks like they like boys, it is Ryuji himself, since he is always surrounded by nothing but men. This causes both of them to become completely furious with each other. Sometime later, during physical education class, the students are being chased by a giant frog demon. Rin and Ryuji immediately begin competing against each other. During the competition, Ryuji unexpectedly kicks Rin, forcing the teacher to step in and stop the monster. The two immediately start fighting and the teacher pulls Ryuji aside to scold him. He tells Ryuji that a model student like him should not be getting into fights. He also advises him to stay away from Rin because the principal has already warned everyone that Rin is a special case. Meanwhile, Rin's friends Konekomaru and Renzo explain the truth about Ryuji. They reveal that he is determined to become a powerful exorcist so that he can defeat Satan. The reason for this dates back 16 years to the Blue Flame incident. The tragedy occurred at Ryuji's family temple, where many priests suddenly burst into blue flames and bled to death. They explain that the blue flames are a sign that Satan is nearby. Back then, Ryuji was only a child and had to hide to survive. Since that day, he has sworn to become strong enough to defeat Satan. Hearing this leaves Rin shocked because they both share the exact same goal. Later, while the rest of the class continues training with the giant frog, the teacher receives a call from his girlfriend. He decides to take a break and leaves the students alone while he goes to spend time with him. This annoys Ryuji, who immediately challenges Rin. He dares him to enter the field and touch the frog demon without getting killed. Rin explains that even though they share the same goal of defeating Satan, he is not going to risk his life just to prove something. He admits that he could do it, but if he is forced to draw his sword, everyone would discover that he is the demon prince. Because of that, he refuses the challenge. Ryuji is still furious, and the story reveals more about his past. After the Blue Flame incident, everyone in his village began treating his family's temple as if it were cursed. As a child, Ryuji promised his father that he would become the strongest exorcist in history and defeat Satan because he was tired of being judged wherever he went. Back in the present, Ryuji suddenly charges toward the frog demon. He wants to prove that he truly has courage. However, after being mocked by everyone, he lets his guard down. The frog demon immediately becomes enraged. Seeing the danger, Rin rushes in to save him. Just as the monster is about to devour Ryuji, Rin glares at it. The frog instantly retreats after sensing the overwhelming power of Satan's son. Rin then begins arguing with Ryuji for recklessly risking his life. At the same time, Yukio is secretly watching the situation through a map. He expects Rin to draw his sword, but after seeing that he does not, he relaxes and reports everything to Mephisto. Meanwhile, Mephisto is standing on top of a tower under construction when his brother Amaimon arrives. Amaimon is known as the King of Earth. It is then revealed that both of them are demons and appear to be Rin's half-brothers. The two discuss how long it will take before they return to Gehenna. Mephisto sends a message to Satan through Amaimon and informs him that he is now responsible for their younger brother, clearly referring to Rin. The following day, Yukio is pleasantly surprised to see Rin actually studying. At that moment, Ryuji arrives and thanks Rin for saving him the previous day. He even gives Rin a small gift for his hair. As expected, however, the two quickly end up arguing. A few days later, Rin wakes up in a panic after oversleeping and realizing that he is late for class. He hurriedly eats breakfast and immediately rushes to the academy. Several hours later, lunchtime arrives. Only one of Rin's favorite sandwiches remains. Unfortunately, Ryuji appears at the same moment, and the two start arguing over who should get it. Just then, Yukio arrives. Several girls offer him their lunch, but he remembers that he promised to eat with Rin and immediately takes his brother with him. When they reach the cafeteria, Rin is amazed by the delicious-looking food being served there. However, the moment he sees the prices, he becomes furious. Yukio reminds him that the academy mainly serves wealthy students. The brothers then go to Mephisto and ask him to lower the cafeteria prices. Mephisto refuses and explains that if they want the academy to remain a first-class institution, it must provide high-quality products. Rin complains, so Mephisto gives each of them an allowance. He hands them 2,000 yen and informs them that the money must last for the entire month. This leaves Rin completely frustrated. Later, Yukio points out that he receives a salary as a teacher and suggests that they simply prepare their own meals. The two head to the supermarket, where Yukio proposes a simple arrangement. He will buy the ingredients, and Rin will do the cooking. According to Yukio, this will also solve another problem because it will help him avoid all the girls who keep offering him lunch. In short, a single shopping trip will solve several problems at once. Since only Rin and Yukio live in the dormitory building, Yukio tells him that he is free to use the kitchen whenever he wants. Later that night, Rin spends several hours preparing food for the next day. After he finally goes to sleep, a pair of eyes appears in the darkness. The following morning, Rin punches Yukio because he thinks his brother ate all the food he prepared. However, the two eventually conclude that someone else must be living in the building. Just then, they hear a noise coming from the kitchen. When they rush over to investigate, they discover that Mephisto is there. Mephisto explains that he is not the one who has been using the kitchen. Instead, a cooking spirit named Ukobak has been preparing meals without their knowledge. Since Ukobak is a cooking spirit, he became angry after Rin entered the kitchen the previous night. As a result, Mephisto has been handling the cooking until Ukobak improves his attitude. Rin decides to try the food, but he struggles because it is far too spicy. Realizing that the situation cannot continue like this, he decides they need to solve the problem with the spirit as soon as possible. The next day, Rin returns to the kitchen. After cleaning the entire area, he calls Ukobak out and tells him to stop hiding like a coward. The spirit becomes furious when Rin suggests that he can leave because he is not the only one who knows how to cook. At the same time, Yukio rushes back to the dormitory after hearing an explosion from the building. When he arrives at the kitchen, he sees a brilliant flash of light. Both Rin and Ukobak are completely exhausted. Mephisto is also present and explains that the two have been cooking non-stop for hours. Because both of them possess incredible cooking skills, they ended up creating a variety of amazing dishes and eventually became friends. This leaves Yukio completely confused. Several hours later, after classes end, Rin returns to the dormitory. At the entrance, he runs into Shiemi, who has come to deliver something. Yukio invites her inside for tea. Meanwhile, several girls who admire Yukio become jealous after seeing him invite a girl into the dormitory. After spending some time drinking tea, it starts getting late. Yukio offers to escort Shiemi home because he has the key to her family's shop. The girls outside immediately misunderstand the situation and assume that Shiemi is going to spend the night with him. Because of this, they decide to sneak into the dormitory. After entering the kitchen, they discover all the delicious food stored there. Believing that Shiemi is the one who prepared everything for Yukio, they throw all the food into the trash. This instantly enrages Ukobak because he was actually the one who cooked it. The commotion catches Rin and Yukio's attention, and they immediately rush to the kitchen. When they arrive, they discover that Ukobak is about to cook the girls instead. Fortunately, a few words from Rin calm the spirit down. Rin then tells Yukio that the entire situation is his fault because he constantly rejects the food the girls try to give him. Realizing their mistake, the girls apologize to Yukio for sneaking into the dormitory. In another scene, Shiemi gets ready for school. Her mother asks whether she has managed to make any friends. The question stays on her mind during her walk because she remembers that Rin called her his friend the other day. When she arrives at school, she tries to speak with some of her classmates and become friends with them. Unfortunately, she is so clumsy that she immediately trips. One of the girls tells her to be more careful. At that moment, Rin arrives. Shiemi realizes that she needs to make friends on her own instead of depending on Rin all the time. Later that day, Yukio informs the class that the X-Wire candidate exam will take place in 1 week. Rin has absolutely no idea what any of the terms mean. After class, he asks Ryuji and his friends for help. Konekamaru kindly explains that there are 5 different Meister types, and each one depends on the kind of exorcist a person wants to become. Among them are Doctor and Fighter, along with 3 other categories. Rin asks which path they plan to choose. Konekamaru explains that he wants to become an Arya Meister, a type of exorcist that fights by reciting passages from the Bible. While listening, Rin hears about another Meister type known as Dragoon. Not understanding what it means, he asks for an explanation. A slightly annoyed Ryuji explains that Dragoons fight using firearms, while Knights specialize in swords. After hearing that, Rin immediately becomes interested. However, he decides that he wants to become a knight. Sometime later, the students attend a summoning class. There, they watch their teacher summon a demon. The instructor explains that certain exorcists have the ability to summon demons and use them as familiars. After a lengthy explanation of the process, one of the female students successfully summons several dogs. Rin congratulates her. At the same time, Shiemi decides that this is her chance to impress everyone. She performs the summoning ritual and a small, adorable green man suddenly appears. Because Shiemi wanted to get Isamo's attention and make her proud, she proudly showed off her summoning success. After class ended, Shiemi followed Isamo around, but Isamo quickly became annoyed by her constant presence. However, when she heard that Shiemi wanted them to be friends, Isamo took advantage of the situation. She accepted and immediately made Shiemi carry her bag. Rin noticed this from a distance right away. Over the following days, Isumo completely took advantage of Shiemi and treated her like a personal servant. Several days later, Rin and Yukio are outside the dormitory building waiting for their class. The students are attending an intensive training course to prepare for the Meister exam. When the class arrives, everyone is horrified by how unpleasant the location is. At the same time, Isumo once again makes Shiemi carry her bag, and Rin is clearly unhappy about it. After a long training session, Yukio tells everyone to arrive early the next day so they can review the exam material during class. Later, the girls decide to go take a bath. Meanwhile, some of the boys jokingly suggest spying on them. Ryuji immediately scolds them, saying that they should not behave like that, especially with their teacher standing right in front of them. Elsewhere, the girls arrive at the bathhouse. Isumo tells Shiemi to stay outside because she claims to be shy and does not want anyone to see her naked. She then asks Shiemi to go to the store and buy her a drink. As Shiemi is leaving, Rin tells her that she should stop acting like Isumo's servant because real friends do not treat each other that way. However, Shiemi asks him to leave her alone and runs off. Meanwhile, one of Isumo's friends asks why she has been treating Shiemi so badly. Isumo admits that she does not even consider Shiemi a friend, but since Shiemi willingly carries her belongings, she sees no problem with it. Her friend then grabs her hand and reminds her that she considers Isumo a true friend. She explains that in the past, Isumo had no friends and was constantly mocked by other girls. Everything changed when they met, and they have been friends ever since. However, the girl also admits that she has been thinking about quitting cram school because she does not want to risk her life fighting demons. She also makes it clear that she dislikes the way Isumo has been using Shiemi. At that moment, a drop of blood lands on her cheek. The girls look up and discover a demon clinging to the ceiling. Hearing their screams, Rin immediately rushes toward the scene. By the time he arrives, one of the girls has already been attacked. Isumo quickly attempts to summon her two familiars. However, because she loses her mental composure, the summons turn against her and try to attack her instead. Rin arrives just in time and saves her. He also tears apart the summoning paper, causing the familiars to disappear. Unfortunately, the demon that attacked Isumo's friend is still there. Rin becomes extremely nervous because he knows he could defeat the demon with a single strike. The problem is that drawing his sword would reveal his true identity. At that critical moment, Shiemi arrives to help. Rin distracts the demon while Shiemi uses her familiar to heal the injured girl. Meanwhile, Rin takes a brutal beating from the demon. Just as the creature is about to strangle him, Rin considers drawing his sword. Before he can do so, Yukio arrives and drives the demon away. At the same time, Shiemi uses her familiar to create a special plant that heals the girl's wounds. The girl immediately thanks her. Meanwhile, Isumo feels guilty for how badly she has treated Shiemi. Rin approaches Isumo and finds her crying uncontrollably because she believes she failed to save her friend. Without showing much emotion, Rin hands her a piece of clothing and tells her to put it on and leave immediately. In another scene, the demon reports to a man named Igor. Igor is an exorcist, just like Yukio and Mephisto. It becomes clear that the demon failed its mission to kill Rin. Igor openly expresses his hatred towards Satan and all demons connected. That night, Isumo wakes up after having a nightmare about the demon and her injured friend. She realizes that the way she has been acting is completely wrong. Later, while Rin is brushing his teeth, Isumo arrives to return the shirt he lent her. She even washed it before giving it back. Rin is surprised and tells her that she is not as bad as he originally thought. Isumo then asks him not to tell anyone that she was crying over her friend. The following day, as Rin and Yukio head to school, Yukio explains that the creature they fought was a middle-ranking demon. Rin cannot understand how such a demon managed to enter the academy since the entire school is protected by a barrier. Meanwhile, Isumo's friend confirms that she really plans to leave cram school because she has realized that becoming an exorcist is not the right path for her. Later, Rin is standing on the rooftop thinking about the demon's final words. Before trying to kill him, the demon claimed that it was simply following its master's orders. Rin begins to wonder if Satan was the one who ordered the attack. At that moment, Shiemi suddenly appears behind him. She accidentally startles him, causing the two of them to bump their heads together. Shiemi asks Rin for help, and the two immediately begin hanging sheets around the dormitory building. Since they will be staying there for several days, Shiemi believes the best way she can help is by washing clothes and taking care of other chores. Later, the students return to class and quickly notice that Isumo seems completely distracted. The teacher asks her to recite one of the Exorcist prayers, but she fails because she cannot remember it. Ryuji then recites it perfectly, leaving both Rin and Shiemi impressed. Rin even comments that Ryuji is not as dumb as he originally thought. That remark immediately irritates Ryuji. Isumo then mocks him, and the two begin arguing. She points out that Arya Meisters only recite prayers and need other people to protect them. Since Ryuji wants to become an Arya Meister, he becomes offended by her comment. Isumo continues teasing him for studying so hard just to defeat Satan. When Ryuji asks why she wants to become an exorcist, Isumo remembers a past incident but refuses to reveal the truth. The argument escalates, and Ryuji grabs her shirt. Angered by this, Isumo throws a punch but accidentally hits Rin instead. That immediately makes Rin furious with both of them. Later that night, everyone returns to the dormitory. As punishment for the fight, Yukio summons rock-like demons and attaches them to the students' feet. They are forced to wear them for 3 hours while he goes to take care of other matters. Before leaving, Yukio explains that he will place a protective barrier around the building to prevent the demon known as Ghoul from attacking again. However, shortly after he leaves, the power suddenly goes out. Renzo decides to investigate what happened. Unfortunately, Ghoul appears once again and immediately attacks him. Everyone panics as the monster sprays a strange fluid around the area. At the same time, Shiemi uses her familiar and manages to strike the creature with massive roots. While the demon struggles against the barrier created by the roots, Rin realizes that he needs to lure the monster somewhere else. He tells the others that he will distract the demon and then leads it away from the group. The demon follows him, but nobody realizes that it has split itself in two. One part follows Rin, while the other remains with the students. Ryuji and his friends suggest reciting sacred verses that might be able to destroy the demon. However, Isumo reminds them that they could be killed while trying to complete the ritual. Ryuji ignores her concerns and points out that Shiemi is already risking everything to protect them with her familiar. Renzo agrees and says that they should defend the others while their teammates continue reciting the holy verses. Isumo appears terrified. Ryuji tells her to stop acting so cowardly, because she was acting tough only moments ago. The group then begins reciting the sacred passages. Meanwhile, Rin reaches the machine room. He believes all he has to do is restore the electricity by switching the power back on. However, when the demon attacks him again, he has no choice but to activate his blue flame. At that exact moment, Igor appears before him. Igor immediately realizes that this is what he had been waiting to confirm. The sight of the blue flames proves that Rin is truly the son of Satan. Igor steps back so he can observe the flames with his own eyes. Elsewhere, the students continue reciting the sacred verses. Eventually, Shiemi collapses from exhaustion, causing the demon to break through and stand directly in front of them. Seeing this, Isumo becomes worried about Shiemi. Even in her weakened condition, Shiemi is still trying to protect everyone. This realization gives Isumo the courage she needs to summon her familiars once again. This time, she successfully controls them and uses them to defend her classmate. She manages to buy enough time for the electricity to come back on. Just then, the demon captures Ryuji. However, Ryuji finishes reciting the final words of the Exorcist, and the demon is destroyed instantly. Everyone celebrates their victory. A moment later, Rin returns and is relieved to see that everyone is safe. However, Ryuji immediately chases after him because he believes Rin is an idiot for trying to sacrifice himself to save everyone. At the same time, Isumo finally speaks honestly to Shiemi. She admits that she still does not particularly like her, but she sincerely thanks Shiemi for saving all of them. Those words make Shiemi incredibly happy. Just then, Yukio arrives and is shocked by the amount of destruction inside the building. However, he is accompanied by Igor, which leaves Rin somewhat relieved. Rin immediately tries to blame everything on the teacher, but before he can continue, Mephisto arrives and kicks him. Soon after, numerous teachers emerge from different locations. They reveal that the intensive training course was actually a test the entire time. The students had been secretly monitored by multiple instructors throughout the exercise. Later, while recovering from the ordeal, the students discussed the surprise examination. They believe that everyone managed to pass because Yukio had emphasized from the beginning that teamwork would be the key to success. At that moment, Shiemi finally wakes up. The entire class thanks her for saving them because without her help, they likely would not have survived the test. The others also ask Rin how he managed to defeat Ghoul. Rin avoids the question and simply claims that he stabbed it with his sword. However, Isumo finds the explanation suspicious because Ghoul was a middle-ranking demon. In another scene, Yukio meets with Igor. Yukio tells him that he went too far during the exam because he did not want Rin to reveal his powers in front of his classmate. Igor then reveals that Mephisto was the one who ordered him to try to kill Rin. The purpose was to determine the true extent of Rin's power because the true Cross Order wants to know whether he can be used as a weapon. Before leaving, Igor promises Yukio that he will not try to kill his brother again. The following night, Shiemi is thinking about all the kind things her classmates said to her. At that moment, Yukio arrives, making her extremely nervous. He explains that he came to discuss her future as an exorcist. As they talk, Yukio remembers the first time he visited her family shop. It was actually his first day as an exorcist, and Shiro had brought him there. Back then, Shiemi's mother tried to introduce her to someone her own age. However, Shiemi was so shy that she immediately ran away. As Yukio and Shiro were leaving, the young Shiemi returned and gave Yukio a clover so that he would remember her. Back in the present, Shiemi turns bright red from embarrassment after remembering the incident. Yukio reassures her that there is nothing to be embarrassed about. He explains that he used to be just like her because Rin was always the brave one when they were children. Yukio then tells her that she has the potential to become an esquire, an exorcist trainee who is allowed to deal with real demons rather than simple exam simulations. However, he advises her to discuss it with her mother first, because becoming an exorcist means facing genuine danger. At that moment, Yukio suddenly remembers Igor and immediately leaves because he has a bad feeling. Meanwhile, Rin is asleep in his room. Igor secretly enters and attempts to kill him. However, Yukio arrives first and reveals that he had prepared a trap. He reminds Igor that he promised not to try to kill Rin again. At the same time, Rin is actually sleeping somewhere else. He is awakened by Shiemi. The two hear gunshots and realize that the two teachers are fighting. They rush to the rooftop, where Igor summons the strongest demon under his control. The demon quickly overwhelms Yukio and beats him badly. Rin arrives and tries to save his brother. As he joins the fight, the demon captures him. Just as the creature is about to kill Rin, Yukio destroys the summoning circle on the ground, causing the demon to disappear. Rin immediately points his sword at Igor and demands to know what he is doing. Igor then reveals that he is a survivor of the Blue Night incident. During that tragedy, many priests died. After being possessed by Satan, Igor lost one of his eyes. Worse still, Satan used his body to murder his family. Filled with hatred, Igor directs all of his anger towards Satan and anyone connected to him. In that moment, he activates an ability and strikes Rin directly in the stomach. Rather than fighting back, Rin puts away his sword. He calmly asks Igor whether attacking him made him feel any better. Rin then tells him that he can come after him whenever he wants, as long as he does not hurt the people around him. Those words finally calm Igor down. Even so, Igor warns Rin that a terrible future awaits him because many people, including himself, would rather see him dead. After saying that, Igor leaves. Meanwhile, Rin's wound begins healing on its own. Thanks to his demonic powers, he possesses rapid regeneration. At that moment, Shiemi arrives. Rin quickly hides his demon tail before she notices. When Shiemi sees his injury, she begs him to let her treat it. Rin has no choice but to agree. Afterward, Shiemi reveals that she has finally made a decision regarding the academy. The following day, Mephisto gathers all of the students and announces that they have officially passed the test. From that moment on, they are recognized as esquires. Several hours later, a banquet is held to celebrate their success. While everyone enjoys the feast, Mephisto apologizes for Igor's behavior. He promises Yukio that the professor will never interfere with Rin again. Soon afterward, Yukio is called away to eat lunch. At the same time, Mephisto contacts his brother and informs him that Igor failed to complete the mission of eliminating Rin. Because of that, he wants him to come to the academy. To bypass the protective barriers surrounding the school, Mephisto plans to send Igor to escort him inside. After making those arrangements, Mephisto heads off to enjoy the banquet. Meanwhile, Amemanen is shown in Gehenna. He reflects on how both his father Satan and his brother seem obsessed with Rin. Because of that, he decides that he has no choice but to help both of them. In another scene, the city guards are shown discussing a cat named Kuro. They mention that Kuro has remained in the same spot for days and has not even touched his food. However, Kuro is secretly listening to their conversation with a rather unsettling expression. Meanwhile, Rin arrives to see Yukio and immediately starts complaining about the intense heat. The dormitory building is so old that it does not even have air conditioning. At that moment, Rin notices a chart displaying the rank levels of various exorcists. He discovers that Yukio is already ranked quite high and is steadily approaching the top of the chart. Seeing this makes Rin want to participate in more missions so he can fight demons himself. Yukio then explains that the highest rank of all is Paladin. That title is only awarded to the most powerful exorcist. He also advises Rin to stop relying so heavily on his sword and to quit using his body as a shield. Yukio makes it clear that Rin will not be assigned real missions until he stops acting recklessly. This irritates Rin because Yukio insists that he is only trying to help him, just as Shiro would have wanted. The argument escalates to the point where Rin accidentally breaks Yukio's glasses. Just then, Yukio receives a call regarding a mission. He grabs a spare pair of glasses and informs Rin that he cannot come along this time. However, Rin secretly follows him anyway. When Yukio notices this, he reluctantly allows Rin to accompany him. After arriving at their destination, they discover that several city guards have been injured. The cause of the chaos is Kuro, who has suddenly gone berserk and grown to an enormous size. The guards explain that they had been talking about Shiro when Kuro suddenly lost control. Yukio then reveals that Kuro was Shiro's familiar. Since Shiro's death, Kuro has been unable to cope with the loss. Yukio further explains that Kuro is a demon that possesses cats. Long ago, Kuro lived in a village where he was worshipped because he had survived for decades. One day, however, the villagers abandoned the area and demolished his home. This caused Kuro to develop deep resentment toward humans. The Exorcists have tried to restrain him because they cannot bring themselves to kill Shiro's beloved companion. As Rin and Yukio approach, Rin begins hearing a voice coming from Kuro. At that moment, one of the Exorcists recalls an event from the past. Back when Yukio was only an esquire, he accompanied Shiru on a mission involving Kuro. Since Shiru was a paladin, he possessed abilities far beyond those of ordinary exorcists. In the flashback, Shiru successfully calms Kuro down. Afterward, Shiru asks Kuro to become the guardian of the entrance to True Cross Town. Rin is shocked to learn that Shiro had actually been a paladin. However, the other exorcists still believe that Kuro will eventually kill everyone because he is a demon. Yukio then reveals that Shiro left behind a special grenade to be used if Kuro ever lost control. He orders the other exorcists to leave immediately. Meanwhile, Rin continues hearing Kuro's thoughts. Kuro calls everyone liars and insists that Shiro has been killed. After hearing the guards talk about it, Kuro became convinced that someone had taken his friend away from him. That is why he is so furious. Yukio tells Rin to leave because nobody knows what will happen once the grenade is used. He explains that they have no choice because there is no high-level exorcist capable of taming Kuro. Rin disagrees. He believes that Kuro is simply overwhelmed by grief. His demonic instincts are telling him that something else is going on. Rin asks Yukio to let him speak with Kuro and promises that he will not draw his sword. After receiving permission, Rin tells Kuro that he is Shiro's son. He confirms that Shiro is truly dead. Kuro refuses to believe him and immediately charges forward. However, the two end up smashing their heads together. Rin then approaches him and offers words of comfort. He explains that he is grieving too and understands exactly how Kuro feels. Rin then asks Kuro if he would like to be his friend. Those words completely shock Yukio. That is the exact same way Shiro saved Kuro in the past. Shiro had also offered to become Kuro's friend. Hearing those words again causes Kuro to break down in tears as he finally accepts that he will never see Shiro again. At the same time, Rin successfully calms him down. Kuro eventually returns to his small cat form. From a distance, Rin's half-brothers observe everything that has happened. They discuss how peaceful Rin has been ever since arriving at the academy. Mephisto comments that they should provoke him because he has not yet seen Rin fight at full strength. Amaimon eventually leaves the area. It is then revealed that Igor has also been watching from nearby. Igor asks Mephisto whether they can truly trust Rin, considering that he is a demon. Mephisto confidently replies that they can. According to him, Rin only needs a little more encouragement. Several hours later, Kuro has grown extremely attached to Rin. At that moment, Yukio arrives and tells Rin that he can keep Kuro. He explains that he tricked everyone into believing that Kuro is now Rin's familiar. Shortly afterward, Kuro grabs the object that Shiru supposedly left behind for his son. Kuro comments that it smells like the food Shiru used to give him. After examining it, Yukio realizes that it is actually cat sake. Without hesitation, he pours some for Kuro, and the cat immediately becomes extremely happy. Both brothers realize just how kind-hearted Shiro truly was. It never even crossed his mind to kill his beloved familiar. Sometime later, Kuro becomes slightly drunk after drinking too much cat sake and ends up lying on the ground. Rin suggests that they should have a toast together. However, Yukio warns him that the sake is only meant for cats. Despite the warning, Yukio lets Rin try a little. The moment Rin tastes it, he realizes that it tastes absolutely terrible. In another scene, a man boards a ship in search of a demon. The creature suddenly appears in the water before him and is unbelievably gigantic. Meanwhile, Rin is spending time with Renzo and Isamo as they head to the beach. Renzo is excited at first until he discovers that they are actually there to work. Their job is to cook squid and sell it to customers. Renzo complains that having a cute girl at the stand would help them sell much more. Just then, Isamo arrives and tells them that she is going to relax at the beach for a while because she already helped prepare the squid earlier. She soon floats out into the water on an inflatable ring. Unexpectedly, she gets a cramp. a boy immediately rushes over to help her. Unfortunately, he accidentally grabs her chest. The two collide head first, and Izumo ends up unconscious. A few minutes later, the boy carries her back to shore and prepares to give her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. However, before he can do so, Izumo wakes up in a bad mood. At that moment, Rin and Renzo arrive. The entire group is suddenly interrupted when they hear a crowd running in panic nearby. After following the commotion to a lighthouse, they discover a massive dark stain spreading across the water. An old man explains that it is connected to a demon. He then takes them to a nearby temple and tells them an old legend about a sea demon. The old man also mentions that the man who went searching for the demon 6 months ago never returned. Because of that, everyone believes the creature is extremely dangerous. Later, while the group is heading back to their inn, they run into the same boy from earlier. His name is Yui. Yui asks for their help because his dog is sick and needs to be taken to a veterinarian. After helping him, the group asks why he constantly talks about his father. Yui explains that everything he knows was taught to him by his father and that he has always looked up to him as an exemplary man. It is then revealed that the man who disappeared while searching for the sea demon was actually Yui's father. Sometime later, the group visits Professor Kaoru, who prepares a delicious feast for them. After dinner, they discuss the possibility that the creature roaming the sea may actually be a kraken. Following a lengthy discussion, they begin thinking of ways to defeat it. At that moment, the professor receives a call from his girlfriend. Before leaving, he tells everyone that they can take the next day off to rest. However, he specifically warns them not to let Yui go searching for the demon. Later that night, Izumo is taking a shower when she remembers Yui calling her beautiful. After finishing, she leaves the bathroom and discovers that Yui is waiting nearby. He gives her an ointment to apply to the spot where they bumped heads earlier. The gesture leaves a strong impression on her. After handing her the ointment, Yui leaves. The following day, Kuro wakes Rin up because the strange stain has appeared in the ocean once again. Rin immediately heads to the area. Meanwhile, Izumo goes looking for Yui because she does not want him trying to search for the demon alone. However, she finds him sitting on the pier. She watches over him throughout the day. By evening, she realizes that Yui has no intention of giving up on finding the sea demon. While they continue talking, they are suddenly interrupted when the monster finally emerges from the ocean and reveals itself before them. At the same time, Rin and Renzo rush toward the scene to confront the creature. At that moment, Renzo tries reciting sacred verses to destroy the demon. Unfortunately, the attack has no effect, and the monster retaliates by attacking him. Kuro immediately jumps into the fight, but the creature easily knocks him down as well. At the same time, Izumo attempts to summon her familiars. However, the kraken splashes water onto her summoning paper, disrupting the spell. Just as the monster is about to attack, it is suddenly struck by a harpoon. The group then discovers that Yui has arrived in a small boat to fight the demon himself. Rin immediately dives into the water to help him. However, the stubborn boy charges forward and lands a second harpoon strike on the creature. As expected, the monster quickly retaliates and sends him flying. Rin is forced to rescue Yui from the depth because he has been badly injured. At that moment, with nobody watching, Rin draws his sword and prepares to strike the monster. Before he can attack, a man suddenly starts shouting. The man turns out to be Yui's father, who somehow survived after being stranded at sea. Yui is overjoyed because he had believed his father was dead all this time. Several hours later, everyone is gathered on the beach while the monster remains nearby. Yui's father explains that he had been stranded on an island. According to him, the giant squid actually helped him survive and return home. He tells his son that the creature was never dangerous. Because of this, he asks Yui to reconsider his views about what is truly good and evil. Everyone originally assumed the monster was evil, but in reality it ended up saving his life. Watching the emotional reunion between father and son leaves both Rin and Professor Kaoru deeply moved. Kaoru then explains that he brought them to the beach to teach them an important lesson. Even a demon can change and become a good being. The following day, while everyone waits for the bus back to True Crosstown, Yui arrives with his dog. He proudly shows them that the dog has eyebrows, leaving Izumo completely speechless. Several days later, Amaimon is shown buying all kinds of Japanese products. He tells Mephisto that he has become fascinated with Japanese culture. Amaimon even shows off a yukata he recently purchased. However, Mephisto immediately takes it away because he believes it looks much better on him. Mephisto then informs Amaimon that Rin and his classmates are currently investigating ghost sightings at an amusement park. The scene shifts to the amusement park, where Rin and the others are already searching the area. Everyone is amazed when the girls arrive. For the first time, Shiemi is wearing her regular school uniform, and the group cannot help but notice it. A short while later, Yukio explains that everyone will work in teams. Their mission is to locate the ghost and immediately report it to either him or Professor Kaoru. At that moment, Kaoru asks Isumo if she knows what a ghost is. She correctly answers that a ghost is a demon formed from the emotions of a person or animal. The teachers confirm that her answer is correct. They also explain that there appears to be only one ghost causing trouble in the park. According to reports, it is the ghost of a young boy who enjoys playing pranks and lifting girls' skirts. Hearing this makes Rin extremely nervous. Soon afterward, Rin and Shiemi are paired together for the search. As they walk through the park, Rin cannot stop thinking about how cute Shiemi looks. He even starts feeling as if they are on a date. Meanwhile, Shiemi begins acting awkwardly because she is not used to wearing her school uniform. When they arrive at one of the attractions, Shiemi becomes very excited. She admits that she has always dreamed of visiting an amusement park. Seeing the opportunity, Rin casually suggests that they could come back together someday when classes are not in session. Shiemi happily accepts the invitation. The two continue searching until they finally discover the ghost boy. Rin immediately yells at him to stop crying. However, the ghost suddenly hides behind Shiemi. It quickly becomes obvious that the ghost is a mischievous troublemaker. He grabs Shiemi before flying away at full speed. The two decide to split up in order to find him. Shiemi enters a mirror attraction filled with countless reflections. Meanwhile, Rin waits nearby. Suddenly, Amaimon appears and snatches Rin's sword away. He introduces himself as one of the 8 demon kings, and also reveals that he is Rin's brother. Amaimon then unsheathes Rin's demonic powers. He continues playing with the sword like a child with a toy. Annoyed, Rin demands that he stop. Instead, Amaimon completely draws the sword. Using his magic, he activates the electricity throughout every attraction in the amusement park. Rin immediately begins chasing him. The battle quickly moves onto a roller coaster, where Amaimon slams Rin into the ground repeatedly. Amaimon cannot understand why both their father and Mephisto are so obsessed with Rin. Furious, Rin increases his power and finally manages to land several powerful blows. The entire amusement park begins shaking violently. Everyone becomes nervous. Even Yukio realizes that the situation involves far more than a simple ghost. The battle continues and the tremors cause one of the attractions containing Shiemi to collapse. The moment Rin realizes that Shiemi is in danger, he abandons the fight and rushes to save her. With a powerful attack, he successfully rescues her. At that moment, Shiemi is still with the ghost boy. She thanks him for playing with her. After hearing her kind words, the ghost peacefully fades away. At that moment, Amaimon slams Rin into the ground and declares that he is going to destroy the blade of his sword. However, one of Rin's classmates suddenly arrives. The mysterious student pulls a sword directly from his chest and immediately charges at Amaimon. After exchanging a few words, Amaimon decides to return Rin's sword and leave. He mentions that they will meet again someday. The mysterious student knows that Mephisto was the one who allowed Amaimon to enter the academy. He also recognizes Amaimon as the king of Earth. Amaimon eventually leaves, but the student follows after him. Meanwhile, Rin feels miserable. He cannot believe that he lost control so easily, nor can he accept the fact that someone took his sword from him without any effort. Shiemi soon arrives and spends some time talking with him. During their conversation, she mentions that they might return to the amusement park someday. She also reveals that the ghost boy called her his big sister before disappearing. A short while later, Yukio arrives, accompanied by the mysterious student. The student immediately scolds Yukio and admits that she is tired of pretending to be a student. After removing her hoodie, she reveals herself to be a beautiful woman named Shura. She introduces herself as an official inspector sent directly from the Vatican. Everyone is left completely shocked because nobody expected someone so important to be secretly operating inside the academy. Shura officially introduces herself as another instructor and orders them to take Rin to the Japanese headquarters of the True Cross Order. She explains that he must be questioned. She also states that she wants to speak with Mephisto. Shortly afterwards, Shura takes Rin away while Yukio accompanies them. The group passes through a special door and arrives directly at the Japanese headquarters. Throughout the trip, Shura keeps a firm grip on Rin's shoulder and refuses to let him out of her sight. When they arrive, she immediately questions Mephisto. She wants to know why the Vatican was never informed about Rin's existence. Mephisto calmly explains that they have been training Rin so that he can eventually be used as a weapon against Satan. He further explains that they never reported him because his powers have not fully matured yet. Shura then asks whether Shiro knew about all of this. Mephisto replies that Shiro raised Rin as his own son until the truth eventually revealed itself. This explanation partially convinces Shura. She decides to place Rin inside one of the headquarters prison cells so she can personally interrogate him. Once inside, Shura reveals that she was once Shiro's disciple. She explains that when she had lost her way and fallen into darkness, Shiro appeared and saved her. At that moment, Shura pretends to be injured. Rin immediately approaches to help her. However, it is all a trick designed to steal his sword. After taking it, she asks how many more times he plans to let people steal it from him. This immediately angers Rin and causes his powers to activate. Shura is surprised because the sword has not even been unsheathed, yet Rin's blue flames still emerge. This makes her realize that his powers are gradually slipping out of control. A flashback then reveals that Shiro once asked Shura for a favor. If anything ever happened to him, he wanted her to teach Rin how to use his sword properly. Back in the present, Shura draws her own sword and launches a powerful attack. The explosions are so intense that Yukio and Mephisto hear them from outside the cell. However, they cannot enter because only a first-class authority can unlock the prison. As the battle continues, Shura explains that rumors are spreading throughout the Vatican. Many people believe that Rin and Mephisto are secretly working with Satan. She warns him that if those accusations are proven true, she will be forced to kill him. After severely beating him, Shura causes Rin to question his own worth. For a moment, he begins thinking that Shiro may have wasted his time raising him. Those thoughts only make Rin angrier. He rushes forward and continues fighting. Seeing how inexperienced he is, Shura drives her sword into his body. Even then, Rin refuses to give up. He declares that he has no intention of dying there because he wants to become a paladin and defeat Satan. Those words remind Shura of something Shiro once told her. Shiro had said that she would eventually like Rin. Remembering that conversation changes her perspective. She pulls her sword out and finally realizes that Shiro did not raise a weapon, he simply raised a son. Sometime afterward, Rin is shown recovering in the infirmary. Shura arrives and tosses him a wooden sword. She makes it clear that she will not return his real sword until he can defeat her. According to Shura, someone could easily steal it from him again if he remains this weak. Several hours later, Shura meets with Mephisto. She informs him that she intends to remain at the Japanese branch for the time being. She has decided not to send her report to the Vatican yet because she wants to continue observing Rin personally. Before leaving, she warns Mephisto that she knows he is planning something. Her superiors are fully aware that he is a demon, and very few people trust him. After saying that, she leaves. Moments later, Amaimon appears and mockingly remarks that nobody trusts Mephisto anyway. Angered by everything that happened, Mephisto tells Amaimon that they need to have a serious discussion about today's events. In another scene, Rin is sitting on top of a tower when Kuro joins him. Kuro immediately notices that something is bothering him. Rin explains that he has been thinking about Shiro and remembering events from the past. A flashback then reveals one of Rin's childhood memories. As a child, Rin was extremely violent because other kids constantly bullied him and called him a demon. Whenever he lost control, Shiro would calm him down by giving him a hug. Shiro told him that one day he would become someone loved by many people. He also advised him to use his power for good because misusing it would only leave him alone. Before leaving, Shiro gave him one final piece of advice. If he changed his attitude and behavior, he would eventually make many friends. However, the memory suddenly reveals that Shiro collapsed afterward because Rin had accidentally punched him in the ribs earlier. As a result, Shiro had to be taken away in an ambulance. Even then, he reassured Rin and told him not to worry. Being his usual goofy self, Shiro joked that a nurse with a large chest would probably take good care of him at the hospital. Back in the present, Rin reflects on how much he admired Shiro. He realizes that he always wanted to become someone as amazing as him. After everything he has experienced, Rin becomes even more determined to keep training until he is strong enough to defeat Satan. The following day, Shura is officially assigned as the instructor for the summoning class. The boys immediately become fascinated by how beautiful she is. Meanwhile, Isamo is confused because Shura had been pretending to be a student the entire time. At that moment, Rin arrives late after falling asleep on the rooftop while training. He is shocked to discover that Shura is now his teacher. Shura then begins teaching from a textbook. Rin thinks that if all of this training will help him become a paladin someday, he cannot afford to waste any opportunity. Several days later, Rin is talking with Ryuji's group when he notices that many students are leaving the academy. The vacation period has arrived, and everyone is heading home. At the same time, Isamo's best friend prepares to leave. Renzo immediately tries to act charming and tells her that she can call him anytime if she feels lonely. His comment only ends up annoying her. A little later, Yukio and Shura gather Rin's group together. They explain that the students will not be allowed to go home for a few more days because they have been selected for a special training exercise in the forest. They further explain that anyone who passes the test will be allowed to participate in real demon mission. This announcement excites everyone. After a long trip, the group finally arrives in the forest. The moment Renzo notices the spiders everywhere, he starts screaming in fear. The students continue deeper into the forest while Yukio explains that the area is unusually calm during the day. At night, however, low-ranking demons infest the entire region. When they reach a flat clearing, the students begin setting up camp. Rin proves to be extremely clumsy and accidentally knocks over one of the tents. The girls laugh at him. Meanwhile, Shiemi casually talks with Isomo as if nothing unusual has happened. Isumo cannot understand why Shiemi still treats her normally after everything she previously said to her. Over the next several hours, the students finish setting up the rest of the camp. Rin then prepares dinner for everyone. The entire group is amazed by how talented he is at cooking. This reminds Rin of Shiro's words about using his abilities to help others whenever possible. While everyone is eating, Shiemi notices that Rin seems happier than usual. Yukio notices her reaction and jokingly points out that she seems to care a lot about Rin. A short time later, Yukio gathers everyone and finally explains the details of the test. The students must search a 500-meter area of the forest for special lantern. Once they find one, they must light it and bring it back. Only the students who successfully return with a lit lantern will pass the exam. The problem is that there are only 3 lanterns available. This means that not everyone can pass. Yukio also explains that each student's backpack contains supplies that will help them survive for the next 3 days. Rin initially believes the challenge will be easy. However, Shura quickly approaches him and warns him not to even think about using his blue flames. If anyone discovers his powers in the middle of the forest, she will be forced to report everything to the Vatican. That would result in a paladin being sent to hunt him down and execute him. Soon afterward, everyone prepares to begin. The students realize that this is an individual test, meaning Rin must rely on his own abilities rather than his demonic powers. The examination finally begins. As the students race through the forest, several low-ranking demons appear overhead. Everyone remembers Yukio's instruction. Each person has only a single match. That match can either be used to light a lantern or to launch a flare if they decide to give up. Several students immediately summon their familiars, while others begin reciting sacred verses to eliminate the demon. At that moment, Shiemi tries to summon her familiar. However, one of the demons tears apart her summoning scroll before she can complete the spell. Rin hears a scream in the distance and rushes toward it. When he arrives, he finds Shiemi lying on the ground, surrounded by demons. Without thinking, Rin activates his blue flames and quickly destroys the creature. Immediately afterward, he struggles to suppress his power because he knows that if anyone discovers his secret, everything will be over. Just then, Ryuji arrives and is completely shocked by the scene. Rin becomes nervous because he thinks Ryuji saw his blue flames. Fortunately, Ryuji only asks what happened. He noticed the blue flash and saw Shiemi on the ground, but he did not actually witness Rin's transformation. While they are talking, Renzo arrives and finds everyone gathered together. At that moment, both Ryuji and Renzo receive a message from Kone Komaru. He informs them that he has found one of the lanterns, but needs their assistance. Meanwhile, Yukio is furious. In contrast, Shura finds the situation amusing because less than 10 minutes into the test, Rin has already used his powers. Yukio asks why she chose to remain at the academy. Shura explains that she stayed because she promised Shiro she would train Rin to properly use his sword. Elsewhere, Mephisto and Amaimon observe the situation from afar. Amaimon notes that despite the distance, Shura is fully aware that they are watching. Mephisto mentions that there is someone very important inside the forest. However, Amaimon is more interested in Shura because he believes she is planning something involving Rin. Meanwhile, the students reach the lantern and discover that it is enormous. The lantern is made of stone, and one of the students explains that once it is lit, it comes to life and attempts to devour women. The group quickly realizes that they misunderstood the rules of the test. In the end, teamwork is necessary if they want to succeed. After organizing themselves, they place the lantern onto a cart. Rin is the only one strong enough to pull it. Once the lantern is lit, they begin moving it through the forest. Soon, countless demonic moths attack them. To prevent the lantern from turning against them, they place a special seal on it before lighting it. Elsewhere in the forest, one of the students gives up. The others realize this when a distress flare suddenly explodes in the distance. Meanwhile, Rin's group reaches a broken bridge. Below the bridge are countless demons. They also notice many talismans scattered around the area. After coming up with a plan, they decide to move through the monsters instead of fighting them. Rin immediately places Shiemi on his shoulders and begins walking across the creatures. At the same time, the group removes the seal from the lantern. As expected, the lantern notices Shiemi and immediately begins chasing. Just as it is about to catch them, Rin throws Shiemi safely to the other side. The lantern crashes onto the cart, allowing Konekomaru to place the seal back on it. Rin quickly climbs out of the river below. Everyone celebrates because they managed to overcome the obstacle without any major problem. Unfortunately, while resting against one of the bridge supports, Rin accidentally knocks it over. As a result, several seals that had been restraining a creature beneath the river are destroyed. A gigantic demonic moth immediately emerges. To make matters worse, the monster traps Rin with powerful binding. The others panic. Darling Rebecca, happiness tonight. Elizabeth, happiness time. Joan Pickett. There was a sudden change of happiness everywhere. So what about it took? Rin tells them to leave because he plans to use his blue flames as soon as they are gone. However, Ryuji refuses. He tells Rin to stop acting like a hero because they are staying to help him. Ryuji then grabs his friend's staff and launches it with one of the seals attached. After striking the monster, he recites a sacred passage. A bolt of lightning crashes down from the sky and strikes the creature. The attack forces the monster to release Rin. The group immediately escapes as fast as they can. After running for a while, Rin thanks Ryuji for saving him. Ryuji responds that they are now even because Rin previously saved his life from the giant frog demon. He also tells Rin to stop trying to be a hero all the time and learn to rely on his friends. Hearing this makes Rin happy because he realizes that people genuinely support him. At the same time, he wonders what they would think if they discovered that he is actually Satan's son. Eventually, the group returns to camp. There, they find Isamo and several other students waiting. Shura notices that everyone has safely returned and begins asking who fired the distress flare. Before anyone can answer, Amaimon suddenly appears with a demon by his side. He throws the creature directly at the students. However, Shura instantly activates a powerful defensive barrier. The resulting explosion sends both Amaimon and his demon flying through the air. Amaimon lands beside Mephisto. Mephisto immediately warns him not to do anything so foolish again, or he will deal with him personally. Meanwhile, Shura tells the students to prepare themselves because Amaimon may attack again within the next few hours. She explains that Amaimon is one of the 8 demon kings. For their protection, she begins spraying everyone with high-grade holy water. However, she almost accidentally sprays Rin as well. Had she done so, he would have suffered severe injuries. Ryuji notices that Rin was skipped and asks why. Thinking quickly, Shura claims that Rin is allergic to holy water. The explanation leaves everyone confused. Elsewhere, Yukio is busy exterminating numerous demons throughout the forest. When he discovers the giant demonic moth, he realizes that something unusual is happening in the area. Back at the camp, Shura tells Rin that Amaimon is most likely searching for him. Shura tells Rin that she already knows Amaimon is after him, but assures him that he has nothing to worry about because the demon should not be able to cross the barrier. She then explains that there is only one option left. She must return his sword so he can escape if necessary. Using a spell, Shura pulls the sword out from her stomach and hands it back to him. She also points out that there is no way he could fight a demon king without revealing his powers. Rin hesitates, but the conversation is suddenly interrupted when Shiemi begins walking toward the barrier. Shura tries to stop her, but it turns out that a demon egg has been planted inside her. Amaimon was responsible for it. The moment Amaimon appears, he kidnaps Shiemi and takes her away. Without hesitation, Rin chases after them. As soon as Amaimon appears, Shura protects Rin and hands him his sword. She tells him that she will support him from behind. At the same time, she orders all the students to remain inside the magic circle. Rin quickly catches up to Amaimon and Shiemi. Amaimon mockingly tells Rin that he plans to make Shiemi his wife. Just as he leans in to kiss her, Rin charges forward and throws a punch. However, Amaimon counters with a powerful blow that sends Rin crashing through the forest. The students witness everything. Furious, Ryuji declares that he is going to help because he is tired of watching Rin face every battle alone. Seeing his friend leave the barrier, Konakamaru follows him as well. Meanwhile, Amaimon approaches Rin and tells him that he is far too weak. He even orders Rin to gouge out one of Shiemi's eyes so he can add it to his collection. Before Rin can respond, the students arrive and launch their emergency flares at the demon. One of the flares strikes Amaimon's hair, making him furious. He immediately punches Renzo and knocks Konakamaru aside. Afterward, he grabs Ryuji by the throat. While being strangled, Ryuji tells Rin that he does not understand why he always tries to play the hero. Even so, Rin somehow always manages to win. Seeing his friend in danger, Rin looks at his sword. He knows that if he does not draw it, everyone will die. At the same time, he realizes that the moment he reveals his power, his friends will learn that he is the Demon Prince. Yukio arrives and begs him not to fall for Amaimon's trap. Rin apologizes to his brother and immediately unsheathes the sword. Blue flames burst from his body and his classmates witness everything. Amaimon instantly attacks. During the clash, Ryuji notices Rin's weapon and realizes that it is the legendary demon-slaying sword Kurikara. Rin manages to drive the blade into Amaimon's back. As the demon falls, Amaimon grabs Rin's tail. Watching from a distance, Mephisto laughs and comments that a demon's tail is one of its greatest weaknesses. He concludes that Rin is still an amateur and has much more to learn. Meanwhile, Yukio successfully removes the larva that was controlling Shiemi. Shura then arrives and tells everyone to retreat. When she sees Rin fighting Amaimon, she remembers Shiro's words and becomes convinced that Rin is truly a good demon. Rin continues attacking and lands several powerful blows. Even though Amaimon tries to defend himself, Rin's strength is overwhelming. Amaimon realizes that Rin's power is approaching the level of Satan himself. Just when Amaimon is seriously injured, Mephisto steps in. Using a powerful spell, he summons a gigantic clock and traps Amaimon inside it. The battle had already gone far enough to defeat him. However, after Amaimon is sealed, Rin unleashes a single slash and completely destroys the giant clock. Mephisto is shocked. He never expected Rin to reach such a terrifying level of demonic power. At the same time, Rin begins losing himself to the blue flames. Seeing this, Mephisto realizes that he must stop his younger brother because Rin has now become a threat to everyone around him.